Hi there, real quick. So, Nottoway Plantation burned to the ground. And yesterday I watched the videos on repeat. The fire was cathartic, the crackling was comforting, and the smoke was cleansing, right? And I celebrated down in the comments of people's threads, and we had a really good time. But on the other side of the internet, some people were really upset that the plantation had burned down because they had these great memories and they got married there. Now, the plantation is a symbol of one of the darkest, most gruesome and violent parts of American history. And people try to give them an example, right, of an equally gruesome and disgusting aspect of world history, right? They tried to tell them, think about a concentration camp. Would you get married at a concentration camp? And one woman's response was, well, no, nobody would get married at a concentration camp because it's not pretty, because the architecture is not aesthetically pleasing. So there's not enough space in this video to address that type of thinking, right? I can't peel back enough layers in this time frame to help someone catch up to speed on how to be a decent human being. But what I can do is attempt to address another conversation that was happening in a different part of the internet, right? And so that was happening with palm-colored people, a part of the spiritual community. So if you are a palm-colored person, a part of the spiritual community, gather here, please. Spirituality does transcend race. It's true. We are all one. But we cannot bypass the very real systems that continue to harm people because of that. The truth of oneness only becomes real when we address and acknowledge what has become broken, distorted, stripped away, stolen, and silenced. You don't get to skip the part where you reckon with the systems that gave you power at someone else's expense. You don't get to float above injustice while others are still fighting to exist and to live and to breathe. Spirituality is not an escape hatch. It's a responsibility. It requires listening, acknowledging, and repairing. And then choosing from an educated and informed place to live in a way that reflects what it is you say that you believe. And also, your reckoning, whether or not you like it, includes educating those that look like you, that are at least around you. The generations that are older than you and the generations that are younger than you, especially your children, so we don't keep repeating the same BS, right? So you don't keep passing down what I call the defect, that unquestionable belief that you have that no one ever addresses in your bloodline, that says that you are superior to every other group of people on the planet. That is just a straight up lie. That shows up in a myriad of ways. In your psyche, in your subconscious, in your mindset, in your words, in your actions, in the laws that govern our lives, both loud and also very, very quiet, yet persistent. Using spirituality to avoid how you are complicit is just supremacy in new packaging. It's a piece of the same system painted a different color. So we are all connected, that is true. But if your version of oneness leaves some people suffering in silence, or has you telling people to shut up, or that they are too sensitive while they're airing their grievances about systems and people that continue to traumatize them, then it isn't oneness. It's you attempting to preserve your comfort and probably drawing some false equivalences along the way. And comfort ain't got shit to do with facts and truth. With that said, of course, we can go higher, right? Hopefully one day we will get to where we collectively live that experience of oneness together, consistently and out loud. But unfortunately, today ain't the day. Because first, folks have to go deeper.